Hey everyone, welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about how the biblical Psalms were originally performed. So those of you who don't know, the Psalms were originally set to music in the Temple of Solomon, and some which were written after the time of Solomon. So here we are looking at an article from the Biblical Archaeology Society on how they were performed and what we know about that and what we can gather from history. So let's take a look what it has to say. The biblical Psalms have, throughout millennia, been an important part of Jewish and Christian worship. Like, even in the pre-Vatican II divine office made up mostly of Psalms. In synagogues and churches around the globe, Psalms are sung today as were 2,000 or 3,000 years ago. Or are they? How much do you really know about how biblical Psalms were originally performed? So, we got the words, but like, how did the music go? What might a psalm performance have looked like in the first temple period around 900 BCE? So like 100 years after King David is when that would be. But examining available evidence, Thomas Stuberly of the University of Freiburg, Switzerland, ventures to answer these intriguing questions. The Archaeological Views columns performing the Psalms in biblical times. To be sure, there are no ancient music notations to inform us on the music arrangements of the Psalms in the Iron Age Israel. What's more, even though the collection of biblical Psalms, as we know it, the Hebrew, was established quite late, the oldest Psalms were likely composed already in the 14th century BCE, from which we have no adequate documentation from the Israelites themselves. So 14th century BC, that's like the oldest Psalms date from like the time of Moses, essentially. Finally, given the biblical prohibition against graven images, we do not possess depictions of people performing psalms. Okay, so that's actually not necessarily the case, because even though this was a biblical commandment, the Israelites actually completely sucked at keeping this commandment. Like, we've got, like, let me give an example. Yahweh of Timnah. So, I'm not sure I can find it here. There's an Ostracon. There it is. Here it is. The Kibbutz Quintilit Arjun inscription. So there we have, like, these two cows are supposed to be Yahweh, the God of Israel. That's supposed to be the Israelites. This is like from the time of like Ahab, Jeroboam II, etc. That time period, the Two Kingdoms period. And yeah, the Israelites completely sucked at following this rule. The Israelites did make images, not as many as others, but it did happen. So theoretically, we could actually have images of a psalm that were illicitly recorded. I remember someone once saying that the Israelite religion consisted of doing everything God told them not to do. Because of this absence of direct evidence, we haven't found any images, and even though there were some legitimately commanded images on the Ark of the Covenant itself, as well as on the walls of Solomon's temple, and we know from the biblical text, we have not found any evidence of people performing psalms, suggesting that we can learn much by simply taking a look at the Levantine neighbors of the early Israelites. So we got to look at some of the neighbors of the Israelites. The Bible does not tell us much about how psalms were originally performed. Archaeology and extra biblical text, however, can shed some light on the music and dance that accompanied psalms in biblical times. So basically, they're going to look at like similar cultures that are nearby. So think like how Chinese and Japanese culture, historically, they were different. Like, there is absolutely a difference between Chinese and Japanese culture, but there are similarities. So it can at least give us a little nudge in the right direction. Among the Levantine parallels to biblical psalms is found in the famous corpus from Ugarit, on the northern coast of modern Syria. So that's like Canaanite. is praying steadily, referencing the so-called Trulia, of the Akkadian lifted hand petition prayers to different deities. Like many of the biblical psalms, these ritual prayers contain in the rubric's designations of the genre, the function of the prayer, or description of ritual enactments. For examples, read as follows. It is the wording of a lifted hand to the god Banda that you do the ritual with either ritual arrangement or an incense burner. It is the wording of the lifted hand prayer to the goddess Ishtar. Its ritual in an inaccessible place, literally where the foot is kept away. You sweep the roof, you sprinkle pure water, you lay 4 bricks at right angles on one another, you heap twigs of the Euphrates poplar on the brazier, and you kindle the fire. Aromatic plants, scented flowers, and juniper wood you strew. You pour out beer. You do not prostrate yourself. This recitation for Ishtar you recite 3 times. You prostrate yourself, and you do not look behind you. So it's like some of the ritual prayers of other rituals contain that have similar music. Some other suggestions that when they use this type of music in other cultures, they would use these sort of types of rituals. So they're guessing maybe something similar might be going on with when you do a certain psalm. Think about, like, for example, maybe I'll give an obvious example. Let's say if a psalm mentions your prayer sitting as incense, it might have been sung when you're burning incense, for example. There can be further no doubt that the psalm singers were accompanied by players of musical instruments, which you'll find depicted on numerous stone reliefs around the Levant. Again, Psalm 150, praise Lord on harp and the organ, etc., implies that they would use harps and organs in worship. Discovered on Elephantine, so they actually had an illicit Israelite temple there, island, on the very southern border of ancient Egypt. The following 4th century BC papyrus manuscripts reveal that Yahweh was indeed seen as a music lover. Composed within the local Jewish community in Aramaic language, but recorded in Egyptian cursive script, it translates as follows. Drink, Lord Yahweh, from the bounty of 1,000 basins. Be inebriated, Adonai, with the bounty of men. Musicians stand in attendance upon Lord Mar, a player of the bass, a player of the lyre. So they're telling the God of Israel to drink and enjoy the music as they worship him. To learn more about ancient music and enactments of biblical psalms, read the full archaeological view column, Forming Psalms in Biblical Times, by Thomas Stabuli, essentially. I will not make you read it here. I don't want this video to be too long. I will just click on it to have a... Oh, you gotta join the... I was gonna, post it, but, you gotta join the BS library, which I'm not a member of. So, hey, join the Biblical Archaeology Society. That being said, there is one other... video I'd like to see. I'd like to show you. Biblical Psalms. So this is one I really like. It's apparently someone thought they were able to figure out what the notations would have been. I forget how they studied it, but this is but they essentially made a recreation of what they think the Psalms would have sounded like if it were performed in the original manner. So let's take a bit of a look. Give you an idea. So you have kind of an idea. So this is Michael Levy. Check out the YouTube. So let's take a look. Yes. We're
TD customers get up to 15% off a new home insurance policy from TD Insurance. Conditions apply.
YouTube video. Here we go. Discover ritual music meaning of the Te'amim accents attached to the Masoretic text of the Hebrew Bible. So apparently, there are certain accents in the it's accented in the original Hebrew text. Whether intentionally or unintentionally, that may have come later, but the Masoretic text would have recorded certain tones of music, and it's not controversial. They would have kept the original music notations from the temple. That's something like the Masoretes would have legitimately preserved. So my money says it's probably accurate. So let's take a look. Listen. Yeah, so this actually kind of reminds me a little bit of various nuances. I'm seeing a bit of a sounds like a mix of Gregorian chant with the holding of a note along the same line, like you know how in Adoramus te la gloria in excelsis Deo, like how you hold a single note for a few words and stuff like that. I'm seeing certain musical influence on Gregorian chant there, as well as I'm seeing almost something that may have influenced the Maronites, because I've been to Maronite masses where they would have had the triangle. Coptic Orthodox as well would be the same, and would use the triangle. It also has a very distinctly Jewish sound to it as well, which is not surprising. Like, it is ancient Jewish music, and but it's not just the Hebrew wording. There's something else about it that just seems distinctly Jewish. So you see, it's like an ancestor of like of the modern worship of the modern synagogue, Gregorian chant today, and traditional Catholic churches, as well as some Eastern Catholic rites. You see, it's all stems from this. But yeah, like, definitely watch the whole video on Michael Levy's channel. Anyway, God bless, guys. Have a great day, and read the Psalms. And if you want to, and if you don't feel up to saying the full Psalms, say 15 decades of the Rosary, known as Our Lady Psalter. And in some ways, I've even heard theologians say, notably St. Louis de Montfort, in his work on the Rosary, said that the Rosary is actually superior to the Psalms because the Psalms precurse the coming of Jesus Christ, while the Rosary is the fulfillment of it and celebrates its fulfillment. So anyway, God bless. Have a great day. And if you ever get a chance, check it out on SSPX Church. God bless.